I was given a topic to moderate was a climate change, and I was given this three stalwart who are sitting with me. The first question I asked them was, "Do you believe there is something called climate change?" Because one of the president of the largest country says it is a myth, and all these three people were around me saying, "No, no, no, it is not that. It is happening, and it is happening big time now, and especially in India and across the world." Where I think we are recognizing it, we are looking at it, and we are finding a solution how we have to fight it out. So I'll start with Mr. Narang, and I was speaking to him when I was here. And while I come from a corporate, I have a guy who is from IT, I have a person from DS Group, manufacturing. It was very interesting for me to talk to him is how the defense sector is looking at this particular climate change topic.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramesh. And good morning to you all. Uh, it's a matter of immense pride that I always proclaim strongly about my defense background. I worked in the army for 21 years and it was in the infantry. So why I'm particularly mentioning infantry is in the infantry, your feet are always on the ground and you move along the borders and you always defend your borders. So in that bargain, your connect with the earth and the things natural around you is much, much more than perhaps in any other profession. We have continuously, even before this buzzword of green was there, army has been known to continuously sustain, nurture the areas where they administer or where they operate. We always are in touch with locals, seeing their problems, trying to dig some wells where there are none, trying to help them in their sustainable ways to sustain their livelihood, and also look at how things can be more naturally aligned to the nature than to create something artificial around it. Having said that, coming to your question, the army is definitely seized about this eventuality of climate changing. To many of you would not know, the glacier is melting, the Siachen Glacier. 20 years from now, they say the number of posts which are continuously maintained nowadays, even during summers and winters, all 12 months in a year, many of them won't be there to sustain. That will create a lot of issues. One of the main issues which will be created is the water that is generated from those glaciers, which comes down into rivulets and rivers, will start getting affected. The natural population will undergo change. The species, there will be new species coming in as a result of the greening of the greening. When I say greening, means the green grass comes underneath the glaciers, which comes to the fore. That is one aspect. Second aspect is we are also seized about the increasing cutting of trees and the denuding of the surface of the earth from the greenery. And it is happening all the time. If you notice, army cantonments are known for their green surroundings. I'm aware myself, the temperature in Delhi cantonment is about 2 to 3 degrees lower than the rest of the city in summers. And if you go inside, you see the amount of trees which have been planted over the years. Now, recently there was a decision of the government to take away the cantonment land from the control of the defense and bring it out to the open for debate and for allocation to better purposes. While the overall thought is good, what worries us army people is the denudation of the greenery if it happens to be allocated without any proper thought given to the whole thing. So that is one risk which is there. Apart from that, yes, army is always seized of issues like energy conservation, water conservation, and a lot of initiatives are constantly happening around it. I would not be able to pinpoint the exact effort on because of my having left the army a number of years ago. But Having said that, worked for 21 years, Army is always part of the nation building process. And now a real part of the building process also involves the, creating greener options of working. Thank you.
So one thing, I'm like, you guys are very close when it comes to rescuing people when there is a natural disaster. So any plans on the early warning system that you think that defense can help the facility management, or any plans on getting those kind of information, which helps us to act much more earlier? Although we have systems in place where there are EWS that comes in, but is defense, which is the closest to the glacier, closest to the mountains, right? So any plans
Okay.
in
Talking
those
about
areas?
glacier, though Army is deployed there, it is not the only agency which works there. There is a SASE, full name, full form, I would not know. Basically, avalanche science, they undertake experiments there, part of the government machinery. So it is based, their office is based in Himachal somewhere, but their teams are deployed in Siachen for this very purpose, to get early warnings, to get seismic vibrations, and to see the overall scenario and work towards that. I'm sure they would be having inputs which they would be passing to the government.
Thank you. So I'll just shift from defense to now the IT. So IT has been doing a lot of things in terms of their data centers, offices, and I think FM is one of the most important factor. And generally, when people ask me to give one word for FM, and I said it is oxygen. So it is only felt when it is not there, right? So if everything is working fine, nobody's interested to know even who is the facility manager. But if something goes wrong, right, so then a heck of the world comes around the entire office as to why these things are happening. That doesn't mean that people, those who are here in FM, that you need to switch off something to recognize yourself or to say that, yes, we are here. So moving out to IT, I would like Swami to just go through what is happening in Infosys. We have been talking around what is happening in Infosys and how Infosys is actually looking at from the perspective of climate change.
So I'm roughly carrying somewhere 27 plus years of experience in IT, and I've been part of many large data center management and all. So with respect to the climate change and the impact and the contribution from the facility management is huge, that I will say, because we are already working on, say, disaster recovery, or say the business continuity management system and all. So due to climate changes and all, these are the certain contributors. Then when any kind of untoward situation or situation happens at the particular data center, and in terms of continuity of the business, we have to shift our data center or the services or the IT operations from the other part of the country or other part of the world. So that way, I will say that because of we are already ready in terms of the facility capacity as well. So like the power, the cooling and all, those are the say inevitable part to run our data centers. Those our machines do generate a lot of heat, and we have to cool down to perform at the optimum level for the same, right? So these say climate changes and the cascading impact is definitely requiring facility management as an inevitable part. And I must feel, because of as of now they are not these they are the stakeholders in terms of the risk management at the data center, but I think they must be part of the risk analysis with respect to the say power consumption, with respect to the availability of the services, the movement of the connectivities and all. So that part, I think, that is definitely there. And in addition to that, nowadays we are moving towards the zero carbon target by 2030. So definitely we are also looking for say the renewable energy sources to power up our systems and all. So altogether, I see not only in Infosys but also in other organization I've worked for. So we are working and we are trying to introduce new devices or the upcoming technology. Those are say less hungry with respect to the say facility management, or say with respect to the various components of the facility in terms of power, in terms of cooling and all. Those are the key factors I would say are there around due to the impact of the climate changes. So, I think they must also be empowered. I feel that they are not the stakeholder or the decision makers. As of now, I have seen in different organizations. I have worked for 10, 12 organizations so far globally. So I feel the time has come that they must be the role they should play or the hat they should wear as a decision maker as well from the facility management side of it.
So Swami, I've seen in many organizations, right? So this climate change sustainability is more a top-down approach, right? So because when it comes to spending money, right? So there is a lot of resistance in sustainability and saying, so how do you manage to convince your upper management that you need to spend more to maybe earn less, but for a better cause?
Yeah. So basically, I do see at the client centricity, right? We all are running our services, and the business is ultimately for the customer or the client centricity. If due to disaster or due to cost, your services are not available, then you compromise on your brand, you compromise on your services, you compromise on the trust, right? What you acquired so far, and you are aspiring to acquire. So that way, I think at times we have to decide between the cost or the brand, right? What you want to carry, right? So at
So it
times,
is between cost, brand, but not for the other causes, right?
no, other cost is definitely there. So we have to see the balance, right? In terms of the ultimately the business is being run to run to earn the this thing profitability and all. But we have to moderate somewhere that okay, during that phase we have to ensure that okay, what are the critical services we have to run, and for that how much facility related investment we have to do. So that's why the significance or the role of BCMS comes up. That okay, how what critical services we have to run. So for that we have to have the budgeted fund or the contingency management we have to have. That's what I will say. Can I add?
Yeah. Please.
I feel this is the golden period for facility management industry because this opportunity provided by environmental issues, though it's a bit, uh, a bit of a sarcasm here, that this opportunity is being provided by the environmental issues to be made use of by the facility management industry. However, for the good of both the entities, that is facility management industry as well as for the environmental concern, it is good that the synergy is created now. This opportunity is giving us a lot of authority and power to claim this field as part of this sustainability or as part of facility management. So what I'm trying to tell is the research shows that if a particular flow is taken in the procurement or the business decisions using the environmental norms, the business will ultimately prove profitable. The ESG norms have shown that. Now, how does it come into play in facility management is by virtue of us getting into the low-hanging fruits first, which is the energy saving, the water savings, and creating a business outcome out of it and showing it as a case study or making a proposal in such a way that sounds good and also speaking the language of ESG. Companies can no longer ignore ESG.
So it is the situation is better now compared to previous arena. So it is much more easier to sell now to the management than what previously was. Thank you. We have Ramesh from DS Group, and he was speaking about that how they have scored 104 marks out of 110 for getting into a platinum seed building. So I was just asking about how the journey was. So he said I will speak only when I ask this question on the panel. So now you have the chance.
Yeah, good morning all. So I come from a core facility management background, and as Kamal was saying, that now that hat is available and you go and grab that hat. Green hat is available with every organization nowadays. So what happened before answering your question, I'll just explain to my understanding that what is the climate change. Climate change refers to a long-term shift in temperature and weather conditions. Now, it could be natural, it could be human made. So we're talking about the human made, what we are doing on our regular activities. So now we are emitting a lot of greenhouse gases. Those gases are forming a sort of blanket, which eventually raises the temperature around 1.5 degree, as it's happened for last couple of years. So now datas are there, which indicates that 40% of these greenhouses gas generation comes from the built environment. And who is managing that built environment? The facility managers. So now the role becomes very, very critical that they are the custodian of the environment and taking other corrective measures as far as the sustainability is concerned. You asked about the DS journey. Yes, we started our green initiatives, sustainability initiatives in the year 2017. And in 2019, we achieved the prestigious LEED Platinum certifications from USGBC. At the time of certification, we achieved highest number of credits. We all know that it's based on the credit points. So out of 100 points, we achieved 104 points. It was existing building category, operation and maintenance. We all know that green buildings could be a new building, green building could be an institutional building. Our category was existing building version 4. So I'm just proud to say that still this 104 point is a benchmark for all the green buildings which are turning into the greens nowadays. So we can say that we are the world's leading building or the number one existing building. So this we could achieve by reducing our energy footprint, by implementing solar technologies, by signing power purchase agreement with various solar majors, taking various energy initiatives. And of late, very recently, for the same building, it's a huge campus spread in Noida, located in Noida, spread around 5 lakh square feet area. We also achieved the LEED zero carbon certification for this building very recently. So the major contributor was again the green power, the solar power and the power purchase agreement we had with the solar majors. So now 82% of our energy needs are met with the help of green power right now. So rest 18%, we did carbon credit this time, but probably next time we'll increase our green energy footprint and we'll reduce it. So now here and it all done by the facility management teams. There is a EHS team available in the organization. Sustainability team is available in the organization. But as Colonel was mentioning, that this the golden era for facility managers. Go grab and take these initiatives.
Thank you. One more question. So we have here DS Group, which runs a campus. We have Infosys, who runs data centers, which is spread across few acres of land. So this question is for Colonel. I just wanted to understand when it comes to retail, right? So where you have offices spread across, and these sizes would be from 1,000 square feet of an ATM to a lakh when it comes to corporate office. So what is your advice to the FMs that how they manage these satellite offices?
Working on facility management with the eye on environment in a distributed setup like a retail is challenging and has its own nuances. However, we in ICICI and also I as a professional, we have been able to devise certain methods to work around. The first thing I would advise is on the design part. Work on the design. Now, a simple thing. Most retail are used to working with a set piece design for their interior. This brand of chairs, this brand of panel, this brand of tabletops, this brand of space, and so on. That has to change. The mindset has to change. For example, if I'm making a branch in Jaipur, why can't I use the tiling made of Kota? The furniture which is more local in nature, mudas or something. No, it's all depends on the mindset to change. Once you change that, see the carbon units you're saving. You're saving so much of transportation of those chairs from one end of the country to the another. The material of stone and tiles and other things. And on the other side, you are sustaining the local livelihood also. So it's a win-win thing. So first thing is on design. Second thing is on standardization and scaling of environmentally positive material. Like in our branches, in ICICI Home Finance Company, We were the first in the industry to introduce and implement lithium-ion batteries for UPS purpose at the time when nobody was willing to take that risk. So all our branches are with lithium-ion UPS. What does that do now? Though lithium-ion is not the ideal material, I agree. But what we have achieved is, firstly, the turnaround time replacement of battery has increased from 2 years to 5 years. The life of the battery is 5 years. This is early discharge, early recharging and late discharge of the batteries. The amount of backup power with the limited volume of that battery set is quite efficient. You don't need an AC to cool the battery room. So we have got our UPSs installed in the open now. Very safe for employees to work and very intuitive. You can connect them to the net also. And through a battery management system, you can manage those batteries remotely. So all this is possible once you graduate. Such levers and such initiatives at scale. Similarly, you have more of modular furniture, and you introduce things like solar rooftops. All this helps in creating those small pockets of retail, yet sustainable.
Thank you. So this is for Ravindra. You in DS you said in Infosys you said you have a data centers that has been managed, everything and is managed, and it is more of a customer and a service provider. So what are the alternatives, right, from an FM perspective, and what are the changes that you have brought in Infosys to ensure that we support climate change?
First of all, as a low-hanging fruit, sort of, for say the early pickup, we used to consider on the consolidation of the racks, because of racks are getting powered on, right? So we are consolidating in terms of the racks. So we do target that, okay, within 3 years or 5 years time, let's suppose 100 racks or 600 racks data center is running. So we try to consolidate reduction of the same with the new technology and the less power hungry machines, right? So that sort of we do first. And later on, we also consider that in my earlier engagements also, what we used to do is that we distribute the services in different geographies. To accommodate in terms of any power cut or something is happening. So we are running our services from the other part and having less requirement to run the sites on the DG and all, right? So that way we are trying to reduce the consumption in terms of the optimization of the energy, what we require on the same. So those are the primary things. And
any action that you've done on the solar power side? I mean, apart from getting DG?
that's underway, but as of now, the power the higher end machines do require. So it's yet on the say card to come on.
Something not doable.
Yeah, as of now, we are just looking for in the bits of pieces where the very less power is required. But you can understand when we built up the data centers of 500, 600 racks and all, they require, and based on the say, there are certain guidelines globally in terms of the tier 4 data center and all. We have to have the power sources from different transformers or different service providers as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you. This for you. So DS has 104 out of 110 platinum building. What is that you are doing on front of the manufacturing? I still see plastic
See,
bottle.
manufacturing, we are looking at the packaging of our product. We are making it more sustainable. You must have seen also, because currently the plastic is banned and there are certain
So I have a question. Was the shift because the plastic was banned, or was the shift that you wanted to do a climate change?
no, see, both things. So as an organization, we are very innovative. We are forward thinking organization. So we were already started. We already started that thing. But at the same time, there was a compliance requirement also. And then there is always a word called competitive advantage. So we want to become first. We want to be a leading player in all areas, whatever we do. So that was the initiative where we have a packaging department, which is headed by a vice president. And we have a team of around 30 plus members in that team. So great focus on the packaging, raw material, recycling the plastic waste. And as far as this organic waste is concerned, all our units are having a composter machine installed inside. So we process all the organic waste in-house, and then we have a contact with the recyclers. So currently, we are extending, we want to become a water neutral company. So we have engaged a organization called GRIA Council, and they are auditing our 30 units right now. So maybe a year down the line, we'll become a water neutral company also. So we have a very ambitious goal of becoming a carbon neutral company also. So we have, as we achieve these certifications, so we already started working on that directions. So our group total electricity demand or the megawatt in terms of megawatt is 80 megawatts. So currently we 30 megawatts energy is being fed by the solar power. Whether it's a rooftop, it's a carport, or it's a power purchase agreements. Then what is important that as Karnal was also mentioning that there has to be a discipline and habit. So what we do that we have formed a cross-functional sustainability committee in our organizations where all the manufacturing head and all the technical heads, they become the part of that sustainability committee. That committee meet every month. They talk about the new initiative, new progresses, new projects. And within the facility management department, what we do that there is a shift in the approach of each and every facility executive, facility manager. By 10, they have to give at least one sustainability idea to the committee. We also have a data analyst in the team, which is a very forward thinking. Normally we talk about the MIS executive and all these stuff, but we had a data analyst who are going into the details using modern techniques and tools to derive some insights where we are turning into the predictive maintenance rather than the preventive maintenance. That's what we do.
Thank you. One more question, Karan Narang, to you is when it comes to climate change and when it comes to sustainability, there are a lot of stakeholders, right? Not just the organization, right? So it's the country, right? It's policies, it is government, everything. And recently, our Prime Minister announced that by 2070, we'll be carbon neutral, right? So, how do you think, right, when you base India from other geopolitical countries which is surrounding, and we all know what is happening with our neighbor countries. So how difficult or easy do you think is the journey that we go into a carbon neutral structure?
A very good question, I must say, because India is poised at a juncture where it is now realizing the dream which others like US, China, and European countries have achieved before us. Well, these countries have achieved the dreams at the cost of the world. If you see, they have been the major culprits of why we are suffering because of global warming today. So the decision is very crucial and difficult for India as a country, whether to pursue those dreams and incur the same cost which the US and other countries have incurred for the rest of the world, or do it more responsibly. Well, dreams we will chase, definitely. We will not let go of the dreams of India. But yes, the government has undertaken a difficult path to achieve those dreams, a very responsible path, by also simultaneously undertaking initiatives like solar, like wind power, harnessing green hydrogen in a major way. And all these things are being announced one by one in projects and being taken on as you are in this room. Just 2 days back, a lot of budget highlights were on renewable energy. So these things will increase more and more. Here are the business opportunities to grab, and our facility management industry can be part of this story by convincing our business leaders within the organizations to look at these things at a more closer way and a more responsible way.
So do you see the growth as a threat or as an opportunity? So most of the Western countries are now shifting to India in terms of manufacturing, in terms of data centers, right? So they're just trying to just maybe push the garbage out of their country, and India being a land of opportunity, right? So they are focusing on India, and we are also looking at a 5 trillion, 10 trillion economy, which excites us to accept those offers, right? So where's the border that you decide that this is what we'll do and this is what we'll not do?
Absolutely.
Right,
I think
so-
this is a very, very difficult answer for me alone to answer, whether the whole government and whole machinery is working towards it. But yes, I see a lot of hope here as an individual, because the buttons are being pressed in the right places. Of course, there are challenges. There are some worries also. Like I heard, there are announcements of projects in the more popularly known Maldives, but also on the Andaman Nicobar Islands. One of the islands, the major island which I have been working at for about 2 years during my army career, that whole island is being now looked at a strategic location in the Malacca Straits, dominating the Malacca Straits. That island is probably going to be developed as a base. And that development will undertake a lot of activity, which will, cut millions of trees and affect the habitat in a very, very, I would say, detrimental manner, which needs to be looked into. So I think there's a lot more responsibility on the government coming on how they undertake these things without losing their sight of the dreams, but also acting maturely, because we cannot replicate the bad ways of those powers which were there earlier. We cannot say, tumne bhi kiya tha, hum bhi karenge. That approach will not work. We'll have to be one up. We have to get better at devising solutions which do not harm the environment. Because if you have not read it, I can tell you, every day, 300 species of plants and animals are getting extinct. If you want to just experience this climate change in the rooms of your houses, do watch Richard Attenborough's series on the planet. You will not be the same person anymore, I can assure you.
Yeah, thank you. And one more thing, while we were just discussing on the facility management side, and we are talking about IT, retail, and so one question, which is a very generic question for all three of you, right? So there's a lot of shift that is happening in terms of habitants, right? So people shifting from villages to coming into cities and all. While we are trying to create more and more opportunity for employment, everything and all. So there is a need of infrastructure that has to be developed, right? So, and with the climate change, a lot of infrastructure that we see out here is deteriorating, especially the roads that you see here, right? So sometimes you see that there is a construction of a road that is happening, and suddenly a crater comes in between, right? So what is the take of all three of you one by one? I would like to just understand on the infrastructure piece as well.
Sorry, I'll grab the mic again. Very, very bad on my form. But you touched a topic which is very close to my heart. I firmly believe that our villages need to be kept more and more intact. Not only intact, they need to be further developed and grown as better villages, model villages.
Also the agriculture piece.
Absolutely, because here is where the environment or the carbon, the carbon dumps are still positively located. That is below the ground. The moment you are urbanizing places, all the carbon is going to come outside. So my heart is always on the villages becoming more sustainable. They being given all the impetus. I think the funds which are being released for urban areas need to be re-looked at. We should be able to give more funds to the villages and make them sustainable. Wherever there are no water facilities, create natural facilities. Wherever there are some imbalances in terms of employment opportunities, create those employment opportunities. Avoid the urban centers from getting more thicker. That is the carbon drain of the country. We should be avoiding that. My views. Thank you.
So COVID gave the opportunity to shift the load in the urbans, and people started working from home, right?
By the way, the facility managers were very worried when it came to IT work from home. Huh? So they thought there will be a loss of employment, which actually didn't happen. So
Yeah, so
lucky.
so everywhere, so I would say both side of the coin is like that. Say now we are requesting or encouraging our resources to start working from office now because of there is a trade-off between say the interconnect of the team and to work closely with the client, and all this shift is missing, right? That way we are encouraging our resources to work from office now. But say so also earlier, so say the COVID gave the opportunity to shift the offload, right? In terms of the energy, those were being consumed at the offices and the grand offices, those we were having in the urbans, right? So that way I would say, so it's just trade-off or say both sides of the coin, right? So so every situation gives us some of the opportunity. It's up to us that how we look at it. So that I wanted to add while shifting the load, say, or stopping people to migrate from one location to other.
So, but Infosys is now, I'm like, your your leader is saying 70 hours work a week. So you are using more energy these days.
I would not like to comment over here, but we are encouraging our resources to start working and working from office now.
Thank you.
So just to continue, as urbanization is happening, so here comes the concept of smart cities. So we have to think on that direction also, which was left. It was initiated way back, but right now things are not moving as it should have been. So now here comes the role of facility managers and engineers. They have to create the infrastructure in such a way that is that is sustainable and long-lived. So they have to do a smart metering. They have to make provision for recycling. They have to make provision of building the infra with the sustainable material. And right now, this opportunity is available. The only thing is that mindset. One has to shift the mindset. At the same time, lot of government regulatories also coming into the force. So one has to look at those things also. They are being done considering the broader goal into the mind to become carbon neutral by 2017. So all I want to say here that you have to have a sustainable approach in mind moving forward if we are doing any shift from the villages to the urban.
So thank you. And you have any questions for me, you can ask me, right? So I think we have still 2 minutes, 23 seconds left. So anything you want to say, I'm like, the bench is open now.
I think same one-liner I'll use. This is a golden opportunity. Do what we can to become ESG professionals apart from facility management work. The ESG role is there to take for you.
So thank you everyone for being patient and listening to us, right? And thank you very much, Dr. Narang, Swami, and Ramesh. Thank you for being here. Right?